Hello and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. On Monday, my husband and I took our daughters horseback riding in Breckenridge. And the image of my little 3-year-old Maytal looking up at these huge horses reminded me of a moment in this week's Torah portion, Shalach Lecha, from the book of Bamidbar, when the 12 spies come back after scouting the land, and 10 of them say, "We feel like grasshoppers in comparison to these giant people. Sure, the land might be lush and amazing, but we are just too weak, too small in comparison to these other peoples there." Many of us can relate to this feeling of being small in the face of a huge existential threat or in the face of an insurmountable task. And yet, I was so proud of my little daughter when she jumped up on that big horse, when she held both that sense of fear that she had, but also the sense of awe and joy of riding this incredible animal through the beautiful mountains of Colorado. There is much that we can learn from this week's Torah portion that speaks to this moment, because not all 12 spies come back and say that we are small and we can't do this. There are 2 spies that are set apart, Caleb and Joshua, who have a different story to tell. Caleb turns to the people and to Moses, and he says, "Alo na'aleh," that we shall surely be able to go up, like from the word Allah or aliyah, to rise. And then later in the same verse, there's another doubling of a verb when he says, "Ki yachol nuchal," we shall surely be able to, yachal, or we shall surely be able to come them. In the Torah, when there's a doubling of 2 verbs next to each other, like we see here with Allah and Yachal, it's understood not just to be a insignificant redundancy, because no extra word in the Torah is really just there for fun, is how we read the Torah, but it's meant to show that there's a real emphasis. In other words, Caleb is saying, we got this. There's a sense of confidence that comes out of his report that he is sharing. And so it is easy also to read Caleb's report as almost a sense of overconfidence. Like, how does this guy have such a strong, confident report to say that we can do this when 10 other spies are saying, oh my gosh, these people are just too big and strong? Well, there's a midrash that gives a different image of how Caleb got to his report. It tells that when Caleb went into the land with the other 11 spies, he set himself off apart, and he went to Hebron, to the cave of Machpelah, where our ancestors are buried. And there he prostrated himself and he prayed to God. Rabbono Shalom, God, please help me be saved from the counsel of the other spies. Help me, in other words, to be able to overcome the negativity that the others I anticipate will share, to overcome the fear, and to be able to share a different report. And then Caleb went back, and we can read now what he said, not as perhaps overconfidence, but as holding the reality of what he saw in the land and what the others said around him, and to be able to say, you know what? This is a moment of fear, and yet also I can hold a sense of hope and positivity, courage and strength also, to be able to hold all those things at once. I hope that we can channel Caleb and Joshua at this moment, to feel on the one hand a sense of real fear, worrying about friends and family in Israel who are sitting in shelters, not knowing when the next ballistic missile may fall in their neighborhood, and all the other fears that we hold and we face that are absolutely real. When I look at a map of Israel, I see this tiny little country, and then you look over at Iran and you understand how much bigger a landmass, a population, an army is represented by this country that includes many people who would like to wipe the people Israel off the map entirely. And it is a real existential threat. And so as we hold all these things, my blessing, my hope for all of us is that even amidst the fears, the real fears that we have, May we also pray for courage and strength like Joshua and Caleb demonstrate. When we may be able to end this war, we may be able to know that our people can go to bed at night not worrying about the nuclear threat of Iran. May that day come. May there be a day when we can be at peace with our neighbors, when we can coexist, when we can have a real peace and a sense of hope that the spies represent to us, that can transcend everyday life. May that day come. In the meantime, we hold the fear, we hold the courage, we hold the resilience all at once as we head into another Shabbat. May this Torah speak to us, and may the legacy of Caleb and Joshua endure. Shabbat Shalom.